Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I was having some technical difficulties there for a second. Sorry about that. But welcome, everybody, to the summer season final. We already have the first game underway, and let's introduce our players really quick and see what they're up to. In the top of Desolatia, we have our Teal and Commander spawning in as our favorite USA player. Forgot what country she was from. It is, of course, Rainbows. She's opening up with a triple land factory. It looks like opening up with bots. And her opponent on the other side, also with a triple land factory, but for the faction of Cybern. It is our yellow Cybern commander, SoulRipper. And he is opening up with loyalists. And both players expanding with one engineer. It looks like both players are trying to flank here. And this is going to be a very, very quick map, of course, Desolatia, but it's a little different. You probably have noticed because this is the SCS Mod. So we are kind of limiting these ledges, the infamous ledges. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you for coming around. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the stream. Of course, my name is Nite Misfortune, and I will be casting all of the games today. We have 4 awesome wildcard round games, and this is probably one of the most exciting ones that I'm looking forward to. I'm excited to see the players in later games, but this is definitely one of the closer matches, one of the most intriguing one. We do see Rainbows finally getting a good surround or good flank here. It doesn't look like SoulRipper still has picked up on this. Actually, this engineer should see it. But he does not have a radar like Rainbows does. And Rainbows is picking up on these flanks. She's already pulling back her engineer. But Rainbows is going to get that first mass extractor here. Needs to continue microing. Needs to also be careful a little bit about the structure detonate. But at this point, it's highly unlikely because it looks like SoulRipper has gone build cause build time. Although, to be completely honest on this map, unless you're planning to expand a super lot, I wouldn't go into build cost build time, but I think he had to with 3 land factories and he expanded quite a bit. It's definitely not the wrong choice, but I think it's going to limit his ability to upgrade his units. Very nice bit of micro here with the engineer drawing some fire, and here with the ACU, although I would probably have positioned the ACU in front here so that he didn't lose a mass extractor. A little bit of an unfortunate start, I want to say, for SoulRipper here, but he is going to get a flank of his own over here on the right-hand side. Rainbows is not really paying attention to the bots. Wow, do Harvogs outrange Loyalists? That's a little funky. Probably with the range upgrade, yeah. Is that... Oh, she control K's that. I wouldn't have control K'd that. I think she was fine there. 2 Harvogs do get out of the way here. Let's see if she gets this mass extractor. I think she can pick that off for free with just 2 bots here. Radar coming up finally for SoulRipper, getting that yummy mass, making Mr. Steal Your Girl proud. And yeah, I think minus this control K, I think she's doing very, very well. And does she not see this? It must be right out of that radar's range, because she is retreating quite a bit. She wants to intercept these loyalists here. My apologies for that. I actually need to mute myself. There we go. No more notifications for you guys. And I'm not sure what Rainbows is doing. I think she's a little slow to respond to the changes in direction from this little army. And it looks like these loyalists are going to get in. It looks like she does have a narrow lead, or at least very equal, on the Harvogs in the front. But she's going to engage here with her ACU. That is going to be very quickly handled. I would love to see Rainbows also do the same as SoulRipper and reclaim those and continue expanding, because if there is one way back for SoulRipper into this game, it is through the expansions that he took. I think you need to realize that, Rainbows, as quickly as possible. She's going to lose the radar. If she loses the radar here, that's a big pickup for SoulRipper as well. Although there aren't really any flanks incoming, but that's an unfortunate loss that you don't really want it to be doing when you're down on mass extractors. So it's going to be a little more difficult for you to expand and continue with the radar. And I really don't know why she hasn't picked off this mass extractor here. SoulRipper is going to continue to expand with his engineer on the right-hand side and also continue to flank with just 2 bots here. Rainbows, it's very crucial that she does not overreact to this because it's just 2 loyalists at the end of the day. And it looks like SoulRipper might have paused his factories for a second because I don't think there's too many new loyalists. There's a 4th land factory coming out. This engineer wants to expand over here on the right-hand side. And that engineer does indeed come, and she must have heard me, and gonna reclaim those, but not gonna expand. I don't quite like that as much as I should. And yeah, a little bit of stalemate here. Want to remind you guys that this is a best out of 5, and we are on a 5-minute streaming delay. So I would love to chat to y'all. I see Kenny Foxtermelon already chatting in here, and there's about 10 of you here in chat. Invite your friends, enemies, and everybody else in between to watch the stream and hang out, enjoy some good games today. Of course, we have those 4 wildcard round games today, and then next weekend, next Saturday, we will crown the champion of the summer season. And that will be very, very exciting because, as you can tell from the bracket, we have just an incredible array of players in this tournament. And the quarterfinals should be extremely, extremely hot, if I can say that word out loud. Yes, Foxtermelon did have a hand in making this map. Of course, these are SCS Mod maps. They are made by Moxing, but some of them are designed by me, some of them are designed by other players, just to see what works and what doesn't. And of course, we're going to keep innovating. We do have a nice engagement here. Rainbow's splitting with her Brackman here, or against the Brackman fire. That would be interesting if Aeon had Brackman, wouldn't it? And overall, I think this is a very nice engagement for SoulRipper. Those Brackman putting in a lot of work. Now SoulRipper is going to reclaim that yummy mass and going to plop down a 5th land factory. There's a 4th land factory for Rainbows. She continues to take Brackman shots to the face. That is quite unfortunate, and I do think we are seeing the scales start to tip a little bit here, unfortunately, for Rainbows. I think the lack of expansion is really killing this. And just a note to players out there who are maybe a little newer, and I know that probably a lot of you find yourselves in a situation similar to this, where you're kind of stalling out your initial strong push because Rainbow's build was kind of geared more towards an initial push. Although she did try to expand. I think it was a mistake here, Control King, that. But yeah, when you find yourself in this situation and you're not pushing forward, you gotta start expanding. And I think this expansion is ultimately a little late, but it's not game ending yet. She has to watch the Brackman fire here. SoulRipper is microing his loyalists out of range while the Brackman provide covering fire here. And it looks like Rainbows is trying, I wouldn't say it's a new technique, but it's definitely, a useful one, where she ungroups her units against the Brackman fire. I'm actually not a super big fan of that. I know if the Brackman do connect, they obviously kill a lot less, but they obviously have a higher chance of connecting because of that larger surface area. So overall, I'm not a huge fan of using that tactic where you split your units. I rather keep them as small as possible and micro them a little bit better. But overall, not bad for Rainbows. Unfortunately, she's starting to get outspammed here. Wow, there's 2 new land factories for SoulRipper here. Yeah, you could just see the power of that delayed expansion from SoulRipper. She was doing from Rainbows. You can see the impact that just a couple of factories and expansion can have here. Decent engagement for her, honestly, here. Doing a lot of damage there. Nice little bit of micro against those Brackman. And she manages to stay in this. She does have shields on her Harvogs, if you haven't noticed yet. Nice expansion from SoulRipper, of course, although he isn't continuing. And now it might tip back towards Rainbows. But this production lead that SoulRipper is building up for himself is just absolutely insane. I usually say, you know, 2 factories is the absolute limit where that an Aeon should be behind a Cybran. But she is now going to be behind 3 land factories. Looks like SoulRipper is going to be pushed forward. There's unit detonate here. Very nicely done. And that just wipes away Rainbows' army. And Rainbows does end up control K'ing. Just a little unfortunate, I think, for Rainbows. She had a very good lead, I would say, in the early game. Should have picked off the Mass Extractor here and should not have controlled the Mass Extractor here. And continued to try and poke around with the unit advantage that she did have. And I really, really liked her position. But unfortunately, game 1 does go to SoulRipper. Or fortunately for SoulRipper, I guess. But nevertheless, we're going to go to game 2. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to game 2 of our first Wildcard round. I'm stuttering because typical morning fashion. Still waiting for that caffeine to kick in. And I want to say a welcome to everybody in the chat. I see some new faces. D1AM, thank you for the follow. As well as Perch Trooper, hello, hello. How's it going? I'm doing pretty good. Excited for these games. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. The map is Open Palms, and I forgot to do the update of the overlay, so I will do that in just a second. Like I told you, I am still sleeping. All right, in the top of Open Palms, the most classic map of them all, we have our teal Aeon commander. It is Rainbows and Unicorns from Clan A, hailing from the United States of America. She's opening up with 1 air and 1 land. I'm excited. I'm excited for this opening. I almost never see Rainbows open up with something like that. And I love that she's starting to diversify and using that build. I really like it, especially against her Cybran opponent who's in the yellow color, opening up with a triple land factory. It is SoulRipper, hailing from Germany. And both players expanding. Of course, this is your typical map. I'm gonna switch the overlay here very, very quickly because there's gonna be a little bit of downtime here. But it should only take me a second. I apologize. Hopefully we will fix the morning tiredness here in a second. Rainbows is not gonna reveal her air. That is very curious. Maybe she's expecting this bots, but also, you know, we're going to see probably this move out once she gets 5 planes, because 5 planes is really enough to start taking out radars. And I forget how much it takes to kill a loyalist. I believe it is also 5. It might be 4. Man, I need to know this. Yeah, it should be 5, because a radar is 1,000, a loyalist is 1,100. And actually... yeah, interesting. Tanks this time around. By the way, that's something I didn't mention last game, but I think when you find yourself in a match that Rainbows found herself in, where you're really clumping your army, you're not really flanking, and especially on a map like Desolatia, where you can't really maneuver too much, where Harbogs really shine, you should probably switch into tanks because they are better in a head-on engagement because of their range, because of their durability, and because of their damage. So that's pretty good. So Rainbows does reveal her air at 5 planes, I believe, 5 Weedy buffs. It's going to start bombarding those loyalists, and these loyalists should not get a whole lot done. But the issue here is that Rainbows is not expanding a terrible amount here for her opening, which is really only 2 factories here. And I think you really need to be either expanding more aggressively with both engineers when you open like this, or you need to have a 3rd factory. So it might be, again, a little bit of an inefficient build. There are 2 tanks here that are being microed really nicely. I think Rainbows has, based on what I'm seeing here, has been improving her micro ability here quite a bit. I really, really like this, positioning her tanks in like the most ideal spot here. Beautiful play by Rainbows. And, you know, I'm loving what I'm seeing here. I think Rainbows is I don't know, maybe it's too soon to tell, but Rainbows is showing a lot of improvement in this series so far. I think maybe just a little bit of jitters there in that first game leading her to control K. a mass extraction and maybe making a mistake or two here and there. But overall, very, very nice. Nice spread on these tanks, shutting down this, this flanking abilities. And a nice... Oh, no! That last plane didn't get her bomb off. Well, she doesn't lose a plane, but unfortunately that engineer lives, which at the end of the day is not a huge deal in this situation because the commander is here anyway, so you're not really shutting down the expansion here. Fourth land factory does come out. She absolutely needs to place down her second land factory here to maintain that double, I guess, disadvantage. She's going to go for a radar, a little bit of overkill on the radar. Is she going to lose? She does lose one Wiedebath. So could be two widow buffs. Okay, that's for a radar. That is not great. And honestly, at this point, you gotta ask yourself, what do you really get with killing a radar in this case? Because if she had Harvox flanking, yes, I could see that. Or maybe even if her tanks were just flanking, that would be very, very useful. But you can see that SoulRipper doesn't even care here in this situation. He's just going to build up a land factory. He's not really in a rush to get vision because there isn't, even if, these tanks did push out, it's not a terrible thing to deal with in this case. Nice little opportunity here for Rainbows to start bombarding these structures here. And again, I'm liking that she's using that air. She's keeping it mobile, and she seems to be controlling her units well. This tank army could probably be looking to get into position, but that could prompt SoulRipper to move out his loyalists. But I think I would like to see him move out his loyalist anyway. And we do need a third land factory here. Absolutely need a third land factory. Even without this fifth land factory from SoulRipper, we really need to start and try to limit the amount, or limit the lead that the Cybern has on the army force. We do have engineers coming out as well to start utilizing that eco. Well, actually, to be completely honest, SoulRipper is not really expanding a whole lot. He stopped expanding his mass extractors. Oh no, she thinks this is a radar. Yeah, I mean, and again, like, why are we so gung-ho about going for radars? I mean, she's not pushing out. If she was pushing out, then maybe. The research points that she gets from the radar is not that much, and she honestly is losing more research from losing her air like that. So a little bit of unfortunate. I think a little bit of room to improve that tactic for the air, but overall not bad. She's expanding really, really well. I like her expansion much better than her opponent, but she absolutely needs a land factory. I would prioritize this. Yeah, 2 land factories going to come out, but now it's starting to get a little late. On the Cybern side, we do see a research station coming out, and we see nothing but loyalists, which probably indicates that we're going to go into either jump jets, or we're going to go into probably megaliths, I want to say. But I don't know. He's not really expanding for megaliths, and there isn't a whole lot of energy generators. It looks like he might have actually forgotten energy generators. I don't know. I mean, he had 2 early ones here, but I don't know. I think this might actually... I don't know. I don't know how to read this. He's expanding, so I think he wants to go megalith. Really, I love this. I love this from Rainbow. She's going to shut down this expansion. By the way, Sierra Tia, thank you so much for the follow. It's going to be 5 minutes again because of the delay, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we have a lot of research stations coming out. And Foxtermelon, or Foxtermelon. I was looking at the chat, and it's all like Foxtermelon in the chat. SoulRipper was going to move out, but not going to after all, seeing those tanks respond. I really, really like this. Effectively, Rainbows has shut down this expansion from SoulRipper. She's even going to pick off this mass extractor. Let's see if SoulRipper control Ks it. He does. Nice little bit of control there, optimizing that to the best of his abilities. And we do see Rainbows actually pushing out a lot of land factories. I really, really like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Yeah, 5 land factories. And an additional land factory from SoulRipper. So I don't think he's going to go megalith after all. We're going to go into land units. If that's the case, though, I would really like to see some Brackman and maybe starting to build that death ball of adapters and mobile missile launchers. This is just too plain of a composition. unless he's just planning to just overrun his opponent. Mobile missile launcher, I mean, it's always useful, but continuing to expand here. Okay, so teleport from the Aeon player, pretty obvious, pretty standard. I mean, what else can we expect from an Aeon player? And 1, 2, 3. Wow, a lot of land factories. Yeah, there's not going to be a megalith, ladies and gentlemen. He would really need to finish for these expansions, I think, if he wanted to go megalith. But really, what are we doing here? Additional land factories here. We don't have stars yet. We don't have stars on the Aeon side either. I really don't know. He has to push out soon, because at about 12 minutes, if not even now, I think she's probably getting close to teleport right about now. I really would like to see her move her air a little bit more. I think she could have shut down this expansion again, but I know she's focusing on expanding. She does have her 6 land factories now. The first research station has made its way out. A lot of energy is going down, again, supporting that teleport progression. And I still don't know what our Cybran player is doing. That is a lot of loyalists, and I'm really not quite sure what we're trying to do. I think it might be jump jets snipe. So a little bit of their own medicine. This bombing run is not very necessary, but does get a nice target here, picking off 6 bots with 1 bombing run. So that's that's the very edge of what's worth for losing 2 Weeda buffs. And there's going to be a mega. So I don't know. It's not going to be a terribly efficient mega, because again, we don't have a terrible amount of expansion. He does have to pause his factories here just to squeeze out this megalith. And this might be a calculated thing here. Although, no, he keeps pausing additional ones. So I don't think he quite knows what his economy can support at this point. I was going to say, he's pausing just 3 factories. He must know exactly how much he needs to get this megalith right when this finishes building. Let's see if he does. I don't think he should be able to. He's expanding very aggressively still. So I don't think he should have enough. Yeah, he doesn't have enough to start a megalith right away. So nice shield here to protect from that air now. So this right-hand side is protected. I think we need to see a push out by the Aeon at this point. Yes, absolutely. And, we might see again a similar situation. But we did see a megalith, so I don't think we are there to jump jets quite yet. Jump jet unit Detto. But that's definitely a progression that we might see. And at this point, I really am questioning why there aren't any Brackman. It's really weird to see a megalith come out with no Brackman to support it. So maybe he's just confident that he can hold off this, which, I mean, is entirely possible, but it's going to depend a lot on micro and a lot on if if SoulRipper has that unit detonation with the, well, even without jump jets, I think you could be very well off. I really like the expansion from Rainbows. It might be a little late here on the right-hand side, but overall, she is building up a machine here. I think we need to push, though. We can't wait. There's an air progression as well. And at this point, yeah, SoulRipper has just a stellar economy. We absolutely need to push Rainbows. We absolutely need to push. We now have adapters coming out as well. I think her time is slipping again. I think Rainbows is a little bit of mistiming here, unfortunately. It does have a lot of land factories coming out. That's going to give her a nice steady supply of land production. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 land factories to SoulRipper's 8. So that's pretty good for the Aeon. And I mean, unless we have 3 or 4 megaliths, this can still do a lot of damage here. The megalith is revealed. We should have teleport by this point. Nice teleport here. Only teleporting a bit of her army on each side, but I think this isn't the best in the end here. She's going to end up losing her army even without unit detonation, and just a little inconsequential here. Now there's unit detonation. Oh my goodness. Is this how it's gonna end again? Rainbows, you're breaking my heart. Oh no. Oh no. I feel like she was in such a good position both of these games. When the Cybern player isn't expanding as much and going both megaliths and, you know, this many land production structures, it is not great for them, I will say. So the fact that SoulRipper was able to get away with this, I don't know. Where was her radar? I mean, her radar was pretty up front, so she should have seen. I don't know. It's oftentimes when you get to the late game, it's hard to read exactly how many land factories somebody has. But I don't know. I don't know. I think she did so well. I think she did so well to shut down the expansions with her air, bombing targets, except for the radar, I think, maybe. I don't know. Such a hard game to analyze, because theoretically she didn't do a whole lot wrong. It's just the teleport didn't pay off there. She didn't build a critical amount of units there to really do anything about the megalith. But nevertheless, well done by SoulRipper. Game 2 does go to our German Cybern player, and we're gonna go to Game 3 because of course this is the best out of 5, and hopefully Rainbows can bring it back just a little bit in that Game 3. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 3. Rainbows and Unicorns is finding herself down 2 games, and she's going onto her map pick of Boolean Complex. I think if she does have the best chance of beating SoulRipper, it is going to be on an air map. And particularly on this air map, I think Aeon does have a slight advantage, although I don't have the stats for it. I didn't check beforehand, but let's go ahead and introduce our players. Starting in the top of Boolean Complex, we have Rainbows and Unicorns spawning as our blue. And Commander opening up with a double air factory. Quite an aggressive air opening here from the Aeon. Her opponent is doing a little bit of a conservative opening. Oh, I can't say that. There's a research station on the map from our yellow Cyber Commander. It is SoulRipper. And he opened up with 1 air and 1 research. Scout coming in from Rainbows this time. There isn't going to be any holding back. And let's see if she can respond, or how she responds, rather, to this research opening. At this point, I think if you open up double air so aggressively, so early, and you see this research station, you absolutely have to push out. You can't lose your scout here either. If you lose your scout, ooh, kind of a nice fake here. Wow, she's actually off map there. I don't know if that was intentional, but if it was, that was pretty brilliant. SoulRipper is going to see the double air. There's honestly a crap ton of air at this point, guys. She should be hightailing it to the other side of the map right now and starting to pick off targets. Absolutely. Let's see if she does that. If she does that, I'm going to love you, Rainbows. It's going to be absolutely stellar if you do that. Pick off that engineer as it's building that mass extractor. Oh, and SoulRipper is not expanding to the sides. I like that as well. And I think he paused air production too. I mean, clearly he's going to plop down a air factory here. Wait, what? Oh, I thought the ACU had anti-air there for a second. I was like, damn, this is going to be a weird game. Land factory coming out. Okay, all right. Not bad. Actually, maybe I would have just bombed the land factory from the start. That would have been a lot of wasted mass for the Cyber. And at this point, I don't actually think it is correct to be bombing this anymore. But she's doing what she absolutely needs to do. She's going to let the I guess it's just anti-air at this point. But yeah, this position I think is going to get solidified here. SoulRipper doing a nice job switching over the production to his commander, but I really like what Rainbows is doing here as well. If she's going to pick off that mass production here, that is absolutely wonderful. Anti-air tower being queued up. She needs to snipe off this engineer. If she snipes off this engineer, this is going to be huge. Rainbows, no. Oh, no. She doesn't quite see it, I don't think. But I think she's still going to fly into the base. There's a shield now on here. So, but the engineer is outside of the shield. The engineer is outside of the shield. She really has to bomb it now. Oh, no. This would have been huge. Oh, my God. She actually gets it, but there's going to be an engineer coming out of this air factory. Oh, man. Okay, adapters now coming out. And let's see expansion. Expansion-wise, this is what's going to be important for Rainbows. I mean, off of a double air start, it's going to be difficult to expand. But she is pausing her air, which I do actually like, although maybe she's not pausing her air. I think she might have just maybe didn't have enough mass. And yeah, that engineer does come out. Loses a Weedaboff there. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't like the look of this for Rainbows here. I mean, air can do still a lot, but SoulRipper is not likely to make a mistake. That German efficiency is likely to come through here, guys. There's still not a critical mass of adapters, so if there is a chance here, she still has it. She's expanding. She's still building air, although her expansion is stalled here, unfortunately. Decent bombing run, I think, picks off one adapter. Or no, that was a loyalist, so that's quite unfortunate. Losing a lot of air. Does pick off that adapter, but she has to do it one at a time. She really needs to split fire for this to be efficient. Oh, and MML's now coming out. Yeah, SoulRipper is not doing anything wrong. I don't like this opening. I think versus Foxtermelon or, you know, Moggen or Vanity, this would not work. Which it sounds like I'm not giving Rainbows enough credit, but I feel like she still definitely has a chance here. Definitely. There's not enough units really here. That commander does need to come up. Yeah, she's doing most things right. She's doing most things right. It's just the very high level stuff, I think, still not quite there, but massive improvement, I think, for Rainbows this season for sure. Yeah, this is going to be a slow creep. Oh no, yeah, messed up rally point there, unfortunately. Bombing run coming in. No split. No split from SoulRipper. Nice little pick off there for Rainbows. Oh, please don't lose that engineer. Point defense is coming out. You know, if she does have a chance, this is actually looking pretty good. She has to make this work here. Bombing run coming in on that adapter. That PD is not going to come out, and I think I would actually like to see a sack cap here. Or not even a sack cap, just a regular capture would be fine. SoulRipper does control K it though. He's, like I said, SoulRipper is not going to make that mistake. And honestly, when you're in this situation, it's so difficult because now SoulRipper can expand. There's a relatively easy to expand here for our Cybern. Yeah. Yeah, this is now it's getting out of hand. Unfortunately. Yeah, I think Hope said it nicely about 5 minutes ago for you guys, but he said it quite nicely. She had a very, very finite window. And, you know, the high-level players, and I'm not saying Rainbows is not a high-level player. She is absolutely in the top 10, probably even 5% of players. The issue is you have to count the engineers when you're opening up with an opening like that. It's very crucial to limit what your opponent can do with an opening like this, because you should not be allowed to get away with this. So you have to count the engineers. You saw one engineer up here building that, and an ACU up here. So, you know, I think she was looking for that second engineer. But I don't know. I mean, is it too much for me to say that maybe SoulRipper couldn't have expanded both ways, or probably wouldn't have expanded both ways? I don't know. What would I have done? I don't know if I would have gone straight to the base here either. I don't know. But that engineer, this engineer should have been picked off. Well, actually, this engineer was picked off. This engineer needed to be picked off a little sooner. And then the air factory could have been picked off. And at that point, you really can take out mass extractors here, and that's looking very good for the Aeon, honestly. Nice bombing run. Honestly, SoulRipper is not... Actually, SoulRipper is not splitting very well, if we're being totally honest. And we're not super far from flares. So this isn't over, guys. This isn't over. I'm just saying these things because this game is a lot closer than it should be. SoulRipper is now transitioning into air. More bombing runs coming in. Yeah, not bad bombing runs, but... And this commander can really just do a lot here, I think. He can go under the shields. What is going on, Rainbows? A little bit of a big arc on the planes there. This time splits very nicely. She splits fire. Well, it wasn't a split fire. It was a cheating split fire where she retargets, which causes her not to actually do enough damage to the first target. Oh no, what is she? Oh no, why are you targeting that? Oh god. Alright, this match is going to be decided in the next 20 seconds. Actually, in the next 30 seconds. And it's going to come down to, can SoulRipper split this army here? He might not even need to, because Rainbows is taking forever here. Taking out one lonely mobile missile launcher. You need to capture this. Either capture this or get out of there, Rainbows. Yeah. Alright, can SoulRipper split? Or can Rainbows just pull out an absolute godly split fire here? Wow, you might not even need that. Wow, those shields are redonk. Those shields are redonk. A lot of Weeda buffs are falling. There are no flares. And yeah, now this is over, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately for Rainbows, it's going to be in straight games, guys. Very, very unfortunate. I thought she looked very solid. But SoulRipper is a great player. SoulRipper is amazing, incredible. And, you know, the fact that he can just not play most of the season and still qualify and still perform this well says just absolutely how powerful SoulRipper is. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely well done by our German player. And I'm looking forward to seeing him next weekend as well. He has a very difficult opponent, Fox Shimellen, who's in the chat. But, you know, SoulRipper can surprise you. And I think if we're going to do predictions, I think he can definitely take off at the very least one map. So, going to be very interesting. But also, Fox Shimellen is really good against playing Cyberns. So, yeah. Last bombing run here. And after this, does absolutely no damage. And she loses. Oh, now she has flares. But honestly, yeah, I mean, I'm not typically the person that calls games, but I think this was over when she couldn't pick off this expansion here. And this was allowed to get built, but it's difficult with the shield. I think Rainbows knows this. I think Rainbows knows it. She does control K. Unfortunately for you, Rainbows, I'm so sorry. This was such... I think she played so well. All 3 games. Her openings were great. Her micro improved a lot in what I've seen. But unfortunately, unable to close game 1 and honestly, every game, I feel like she was up. Maybe except Open Palms, she was up, but unfortunately unable to close those games. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 3-0 for SoulRipper. He's going to move on to face Fox Tremelin in the quarterfinals next weekend. For now, we're going to take a short break. I think we have about 45 minutes till the next game. I might get some food because, honestly, I haven't had breakfast. So we'll see, but I will probably ping the chat again in all the Discords to put the next game up. And hope you guys enjoyed this series, and I hope to see you in a little bit for the second wildcard round between Iron Commander and JP Smith. Don't go anywhere, guys. If you're still watching, give a thumbs up to this video. If you liked the video, leave a comment. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you are blown away by it, check out my Patreon page. This has been Nite. Take care and peace out.